answering your questions about retirement. It's Money Talk with Michael Eastham.
I'm 65 and hope to retire soon, but inflation is crazy and recession could force me to work longer. How do you cover for inflation without taking too much risk? I can't afford to go through 2008 again, this close to retirement.
Well, inflation has been one of those topics that's been on everybody's mind at some point in the last few years. And of course, it's one of those things that unfortunately, individually, we can't control. However, we can prepare for it. And one of the things that I talk about quite frequently is just the importance of not fearing the unknown, right? You can't plan for everything. And if you bury your head in the sand and you live your life in fear, well, then you'll never go out of your house. And that ruins your retirement, I'm sure. So think about the way that inflation affects people. So one of the things that's important is to consider the historical rates of inflation over a long period of time. How is that? What's the average rate? Generally, it's going to be between maybe 3 to 4%. In my mind, that's still highway robbery, right? Because the value of our currency is devalued. But be that as it may, that's a conversation for another day. But we still have to deal with it. So what's a good way to try to plan for inflation? One great way could be to take dividends, excess dividends and interest that you're not spending, and reinvest those dividends. Because by reinvesting dividends, what happens is you buy more shares of the securities or the investments that pay you dividends. And by doing that, you get a compound income effect, not necessarily a compound market value. There are lots of times where people, they reinvest their dividends and they look at their market value and they say, well, how come the market value is not going up? Because I keep reinvesting my dividends. Well, if the market values are stable or they've been going down, well, listen, your market values could still go down. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially with those dividends that you're not spending. Why? Because when the market price goes down, that means that you can use less money to buy more shares. And when you buy more shares, that's the keys to the kingdom. The more shares you have means more income. And if you're reinvesting those dividends and you continue to do that in good times or bad times in terms of market values, that creates an excellent inflation hedge. So your income down the road is going to be higher than it is today. Of course, every situation is a little bit different, so make sure that you reach out to us. Let us help you walk through it to see how you can invest to make sure that you are at least approaching inflation or hedging for inflation for income needs down the road. Thanks again for that great question.
If you've got a financial question you'd like to have answered, click on the link below to submit your question. You may hear your answer on an upcoming edition of Money Talk.